This video contains all of the spoilers. Pokemon Scarlet or Violet are the newest Pokemon games everyone keeps talking about for all the wrong reasons. Directed by a small indie games company, and the Pokemon equivalent to Pain with an S. You are a small child that is still in school, and now you must fight everything for PNGs while being stalked by her. It's a video game, I think. If anything I said is of interest, I implore you to watch further, for I will be your tour guide. Welcome to Paldea. For those who played a Pokemon game before, you must know there's two versions of this. All the footage you are seeing is of Pokemon Violet. They are fundamentally the same exact game, except one of them has a suit of armor as Blaze's hands. It's enchanted with fire aspect, which is really handy or bladey because he has no hands. Besides that, I have a robot lizard instead of a prehistoric one, and Arvin has daddy issues instead of mommy issues. Make sure you remember this. There'll be a flashback to this part later. But perhaps the biggest change in the 9th generation of Pokemon is that it's now open world, because they want that sweet, sweet Breath of the Wild money. That's right, they're not gonna lock all the ice types like Glaceon until 3/4 of the game's already over. You can go anywhere, do anything, and anywhere you so desire. This is because Pokespain, as a reason, is always teetering on oblivion. There isn't actually any police or Snorlaxes to block your way. In fact, the only authority that exists in this region is the Pokemon League. Well, it's not like they can do very much without experiencing the Call of the Void, or just disappearing outright. And this is even mentioning the fact that trees exist and not exist at the same time, or why the land is melting. Don't let anyone tell you that the highest grossing media franchise rushed it out before Christmas. They simply made a game that simulates being in Spain and in crippling debt. And normal human beings simply can't comprehend the masterpiece that this game is. You gain access to the rest of the game after you go to school, and they give you 3 main quests to do. Some of these may sound familiar if you played a Pokemon game before. The first path has you fight an evil team, or as evil as you think they are. Honestly, their biggest crime is threatening to bully their bullies with a car. You're mainly fighting them to save them from themselves. The second plot is the standard fight 8 gym leaders and fight the champion, become a champion. You gotta do all that while being stalked by her. Honestly, these two paths only exist for marketing and tradition. Game Freak, I know you want to write a story and give me the illusion of choice, but can you please write better characters? All I'm seeing is a bunch of cardboard cutouts on top of Roombas with one personality setting. The only 3 people in the entire game that act like people are Arvin, Larry, and the Professor. Everyone else that isn't these 3 have one personality trait that they dial out to 11, because they can't exactly express emotion through movement and having a voice. They have as much personality as my motorcycle, and his personality is I must consume sandwich. But he is at least useful and integral to the story. I can't say the same for anyone else that met on these 2 paths. You can remove both these stories from the game completely, and it will not change the ending one bit. Don't you think resources can be spent a little bit better for the $60 game? Maybe make the game comprehensible to the mere human mind. Maybe don't get rid of 600 Pokemon and sell half of them back as DLC. You know they're gonna do it. Let's just move on. Paldea as a region is obsessed with sandwiches. The only thing they like more than sandwiches are Pokemon. It's like whoever worked on this game went to Spain and the only thing that they remember is that the sandwiches were good. And apparently they are so good that they forgot they were making a Pokemon game for a second. They made a sandwich making minigame. I miss Turtwig. I don't think you understand the power that something like Subway would have here. If you think you're done with sandwiches, they're not done with you. The final main quest line of the game is having Arvin make an immortality sandwich for his dog. In order to craft the immortality sandwich, you must fight a bunch of Titan Pokemon, which is like really big Pokemon. Each Titan Pokemon has 2 phases, and if you manage to beat one, your motorcycle gets upgraded in a certain way. Because again, your motorcycle's main personality trait is that he likes sandwiches. Which makes me question why Arvin made it into a sandwich of all things. Well, besides that, this quest line is very wholesome. Whoa, it's like Arvin has been written to have more than one personality trait and be written like a human being. Like this quest line in the end, it makes this one of the best Pokemon stories. Maybe I'm trashing the attitude quest lines a little bit too much, but it's really hard to take anything seriously when you just see a guy walk through a battlefield at half the frames. Even without the weirdness such as planetary bodies moving in the background, all the bugs and glitches in this game are so common that when it's normal, you're just like, wow, that windmill's moving at 30 frames per second like it's supposed to. Regardless of your opinion on the story, it is a video game after all. So let's talk about if Scarlet or Violet actually improved upon the gameplay. The biggest advantage that these games have over the other ones is that it's open world. Granted, they've done the minimal amount of effort to qualify it as an open world, but maybe that's just me not being able to comprehend the masterpiece that this game is. This of course means you have access to all 377 Pokemon before the first gym. You can go out there and build your team almost immediately once you get out of the eternal nightmare there at school, such as finding a Glaceon, which is still pretty hard because you gotta search for a rare spawn in an olive field and hit it with a frozen rock bombarded with radiation. It does lead into some weirdness where you stumble into a terror raid den and then fight a Shinx. I decided to let the Shinx be on my team because it had the dark Terra type and I remember it learning Crunch. Luxury does not learn Crunch until level 56. Speaking of Terra types, that's a new gimmick of this game. It lets your Pokemon wear a stupid hat and be made of gems. As an example, I'll use Pikachu. Pikachu is usually electric type and it's usually weak to ground. However, if you add Terra Flying, it becomes a flying type. So now it's immune to being hit by ground type moves, but now you can get hit with electricity. It also boosts the power of your flying type moves because I guess they're so flabbergasted that you're wearing that stupid hat that it is take more damage from your move. It's not the worst gimmick, it's better than Z moves and Dynamax, but your mileage may vary. Do you want to know something that really hinders the open world aspect of this game? They did not add level scaling. As an example, my first gym out of the game was with Ino, the streamer that has access to the city's security cameras that can summon her rabid fans at will. I proceeded to have my butt handed to me live on stream because she's supposed to be the third gym leader. That means no matter how many Team Star bosses, tie-ins, or gym leaders that you beat, she will always be level 23. No matter what scenario, the bug and grass type gym leaders will always be weaker than Ino. Doesn't that defeat half the purpose of it being open world? Because at that point, you're just making the two other weaker gym leaders just a chore. I mean, you could follow a guide and play it the intended way it was supposed to be played. At that point, it defeats the purpose of the game being open world and you might as well just send me back to Galar. And there's not much else in this open world game besides the main quest. You walk around all excited because now the game's open world and you can do whatever, but there isn't very much to do. The world that they plonked you in is so one-dimensional that it's collapsing on itself. In order to drive that point home, I am currently on the highest peak of Paldea. I am giving you a viewpoint of a third of Paldea here. In your mind, pause this video if you have to, think of all the points of interest in your sights right now. I can wait because I'm MP4. I'm guessing you're either ready or you don't care. That is your school, you have already been there. That is a part of the story, you're going there regardless. The section that you can't see is the Team Star bus, which you're going to anyway. That's where Iona was. The only correct answer was that elevated slab of rock in that town that's below you. Both are disappointments, and if you actually want to sell DLC, Game Freak, you probably want people to stick around and play your video game. Maybe this game has a bunch of side quests like an actual RPG. Not even the most simplistic quest system exists for this game. I remember in Breath of the Wild where you can own a piece of real estate and obtain the Master Sword, and those were the side quests. Those two things were as cool as doing the main quest, and you can miss them completely. Even goofing around in this game is fun. I can't say the same for Scarlet and Violet. The game was released in 2017, yet it does the open world part better. I guess journeying across the region in an attempt to own a Glaceon is a quest within itself, but that leads to an issue. After you get your 6 team members, you don't want any more Pokemon. And I guess you could say the Pokédex is a quest, but you're doing it without the quality of life features from Legend Arceus. Like, I don't think you understand how cool it was to have creatures that act like animals and attack you. Do you know how much easier it is to lob a Pokeball at something and catch it instead of just engaging in a battle and doing it that manual way? If you think completing the Pokédex is a quest worth doing, go play Legend Arceus where that's actually obtainable. It's just not doable with your open world. The truth is, it was rigged from the start. That's why there's 2 versions. So have fun buying a double pack or paying for Nintendo's online service, because we both know the probability of you having a friend that has the other version of the game is low. Your friend most likely traded away his spare legendary, and the most you're going to get out of it is a shiny charm, which you won't even notice that it works because they removed the shiny sound. Oh boy, but the shiny charm is amazing. You can use it to find World of the Subatomic Particle easier. You know, if they squish these 2 games together, you probably have the ultimate Pokemon game. But I guess none of that matters if they don't have the time to implement the features because the shareholder wants another yacht. Despite them stumbling over and falling on their face on the open world part, it's still the second best 3D Pokemon game, just behind Legends Arceus. I know that's a low bar because these set of games exist under that roof, but hear me out. These set of games have the best multiplayer features in the entire series. If you have a friend, you can invade them like in the hit game Dark Souls. Your friend could be on the other side of the map doing his own thing, and that's cool on its own right. Is that a low bar? Yeah, that's a low bar. The game barely functions with one person, when we're seeing 2 people make it better. But maybe that isn't enough. You 2 can go in and participate in a raid against a really big Pokemon with a stupid hat. It's even cool to do it in single player because you're not stuck in the UK with a Soul Rock and a Magikarp. It is still better if you get 3 people that you actually know to do the raids with you because the AI still messes up. You can go and laugh at some glitches with your friends, and if your friend has the other version of the game, you can catch Pokemon from that version. You still have the other online features like battling and trading, just with some quality of life features like buying bottle caps and mints. Auto battling is now a thing, just in case you actually need materials to make a TM. It's really helpful if you want to grind some levels without the TDM associated with it. But probably one of the best parts is the ending, which is technically spoilers if you're planning on getting this for Christmas. You should probably leave now or skip over the next section if you want to avoid spoilers. So when you beat each of the 3 routes, it usually results in one more battle to wrap up that certain storyline. At the end of Arven's storyline, you get a call from the professor, which is either Sada or Turo. It's the mommy and daddy issues. The professor of the game either wants you to bring the Scarlet or Violet book to Area 0, which was that big crater in the middle of the map. Arven suggests bringing some backup because they want to justify the other 2 storylines. Arven, I'm a champion level trainer. Please don't bring her. We drop into Area 0 against our motorcycle's will. Our party consists of Arven, me, Battle Roomba, and Antisocial Roomba. So now we are in the crib, but our motorcycle does not want to come out of its Pokeball. The professor wants us to go in every lab that is in Area 0 and turn off the security system there. On our way, we meet several Pokemon that we've never seen before. These are Paradox Pokemon. In Scarlet, they are Pokemon from the past. In Violet, they are Pokemon from the future. They come from a dark future where the entirety of Paldea is controlled by Subway. And you can probably guess what happened afterwards. So the robot lizard that we got from Arven is actually a Pokemon from the future. It is the descendant of Cyclozar, which brings up a lot of questions like, why isn't hydreigon a spider? It would have been very cool. Why is the current one a wimp? Like the past and future versions of him are Chads that can fight legendaries if they want. It also brings up the question, where is the second one? For some reason, the professor is only able to bring back 2 Miraidons, and ours seem to have lost a territorial dispute to the other. And let's just say they're not exactly happy to see each other. After we release a bunch of Paradox Pokemon, we get into the lab and realize the professor is actually an AI. The real professor died long ago protecting our Miraidon from the other one. And the reason why the AI brought us here to Area 0 is so they could show up the time machine. Because the AI, despite having Turo's memories and personality, thinks this planet is stupid, like destroying the entire ecosystem of Paldea is stupid. The key to shutting down the time machine is the Scarlet or Violet book. However, that would disable our new AI friend and it would become just a security bot because I guess the professor really didn't want this time machine to get shut off. The real final boss is some dead person's hopes and dreams, and that is as metal as the Pokemon that we're fighting. After saving Paldea, you can set up a tournament and rematch all the gym leaders. And I guess afterwards you can unlock 6-star raids and then 7-star raids. Use the Herb and Mystica to make an advanced sandwich. And I guess afterwards you can complete the Pokédex and play Rare's Waldo with a shiny Pokemon. You can go to school if you wanted to. Yeah, you forgot school was a thing, didn't you? So instead of adding something interesting to the game like Aggron, they decided to make school a mechanic. It's just you going through several pages of dialogue and doing a test. You could have also done this during the main game, but let's be honest here, you don't want to do it at any point of the game. The only useful thing you're getting out of this is a Galarian Meowth, and that's only useful in like raids with other people. You know, if they spent the time making this game comprehensible to the mere human mind, it could probably have 2 official Nintendo seals. It's hard to justify a DLC when this game is so perfect. But much like the devs, I wanted to get this video out before Christmas. My final opinion? It's good when it works, and it doesn't usually work. Like if you already own a Switch, you like Pokemon, and if you already played Arceus, then yeah, sure, go get it. Buy a used coffee off eBay or something, because it's not worth $60. Take your time, wait until they actually fix all the bugs if they ever do. They're gonna make you pay an extra $30 in DLC anyway to make the game actually feel complete, if Sword and Shield is actually anything to go off by. If you already have the game, go mess around with the olive. Insert like and subscribe part here. Have a good night.